Hey guys, I just got a new microphone just for you, but I'll hold on to it. This is a new microphone that I just couldn't resist because it's an old microphone. This is a microphone that is nearly 70 years old, but it's new. It's brand new in box. It has never been used, never been opened. And so this microphone has sat on the shelf for nearly 70 years, never used, never opened. Well, until it got into my hands, because as soon as I got it, I tore into it. I put a connector on the mic, and I've been using it, and I'm going to use it in some upcoming videos because I think it's really cool. I also think that this microphone represents a very important part of audio history. And it was a popular mic in its day. And it seems to have just about completely disappeared from the scene. And to my surprise, as I did a quick look through YouTube, I couldn't find any videos talking about this microphone, even though this is such an important microphone in the history of audio. This microphone represents one of the very first lavalier microphones in the modern era. And I used this microphone, or a minorly newer variant of the same thing, this basic microphone, at a company that I worked with in our boardroom to great effect. And it has some features that modern lavalier microphones lack that I found to be really useful, and it worked out really well for me in that application back in the day as part of our PA system in our boardroom. And so when I saw this microphone, brand new in box, never used, I just had to get it, and I had to share it with you because I think it's such an important part of audio history. But before I get into this particular Electro-Voice lavalier microphone, let's talk about lav mics in a general way. When we talk about lavalier microphones, the thing that probably comes to mind is a micro miniature body-worn microphone like what I'm wearing right now. And technically speaking, one might say that this is not actually a lavalier mic, whereas the Electro-Voice mic that I'm going to show you a little bit later in the video here is a true lavalier. When I see somebody creating video content and using the microphone that's attached to their camera or in their camera, and they want to level up their audio, one of my go-to suggestions is to consider using a lavalier mic because it's very effective, convenient, usually pretty inexpensive. It might not be the ultimate microphone, but it's a good solution for a lot of people. The ultimate microphone would probably be to put a big broadcast or studio microphone in front of the talent on the table, but that's not always practical because sometimes you need more mobility, or having a big honking microphone in your frame just doesn't work with your production, or you don't want to fuss around with that much equipment. And so in a lot of cases, just clipping on a lavalier microphone onto your talent is a great solution. And so the question is, what lavalier mic should you buy? Well, my go-to recommendation is the one that I'm using right now, which is an Audio-Technica lavalier mic. This mic sells for about $30. Now you can find cheaper lavalier mics if you go on AliExpress, but I think that's a bit of a gamble. Now, some of those might be okay, some probably are not. And at the relatively low price of the Audio-Technica mic here, I think the Audio-Technica mic is an easy decision because it's a good sounding mic for not a lot of money. When you're looking at that price bracket of up to $100, I think that this Audio-Technica mic represents excellent value. But it is a wired mic. There's a ridiculously long wire attached to it, which would just go back to your camera. And that's my personal preference. It's very simple, very effective. You can find some wireless mic options in this lower price bracket under $100, but personally I would avoid them because most of the units that I've seen don't offer the highest sound quality. There might be some outliers, but generally speaking, the wireless units that are low cost, well, the compromises are there. If you want a wireless mic, you need to step up into the $150 to $300 range. And then you'll find products from people like DJI and Rode, which offer good sound quality and reliable connections. Personally, I would avoid the wireless microphones just because I have some concerns about health risks from putting RF transmitters right on your body. So for me, I'm not a big fan of wireless earbuds or wireless microphones or other types of RF emitters that are attached directly to your body. I just don't think that's healthy. You could argue that if you're only doing it for a few minutes every couple of weeks, maybe it's not great exposure. Well, then we can get into professional level lav mics. And you could spend hundreds of dollars on a pro level lav mic. But I think you might be disappointed because you might find that if you got one of those mics, you'd say, well, it sounds a little better than the Audio-Technica mic, but it costs 10 times the price. It certainly doesn't sound 10 times better than this mic. So why so expensive? I think what you're paying for when you get into that really high-end tier of lavalier microphones is reliability and ruggedness. Those mics are intended to be put onto news broadcasters every day or actors, and some of these people are not too gentle with equipment, and that equipment gets used in a rigorous and professional way. And so the really high-end lav mics are going to be made of high-quality materials. They're going to be extra tough and rugged and made to be serviceable. So if there's a problem with the cable, it can be more easily replaced. And so that's largely what you're paying for, is durability and reliability at that price point. So, like I say, my go-to recommendation is the Audio-Technica 3550 lav mic. I think it works really well and it's relatively inexpensive at around $30. So now let's take a look at where lav mics came from and take a look at this vintage Electro-Voice 647 lav mic. So a quick history of lavalier microphones. The very first lavalier mics were in the 1930s, and it meant a body-worn microphone. Some early examples would be the RCA Star Maker, which was a ribbon microphone design that was pretty large, significantly larger than microphones of today. It would hang on your body, probably from my chest down to my crotch. And so it was almost like wearing a saxophone. Probably not that practical. But as time moved forward and they were able to make smaller and smaller microphones, Electro-Voice in the early 1950s came out with the 647. And this is a miniaturized dynamic microphone with a tailored frequency response for the use in a lavalier situation. And why do we call these lavalier microphones? Is it because they were invented by Charles Lavalier? No, that's not true. If you're to look in the dictionary for the definition of the word lavalier, well, today it would say a small body-worn microphone, but back in the day, back in the 50s, that wasn't the definition. Back then, people would associate that word with jewelry. And a lavalier means a necklace with a jewel hanging on it. And so these microphones were necklace-based. So it's got a necklace that hangs the microphone. And here is the Electro-Voice 647. After the 647 came out, they came out with a 649, which is very similar and a little tiny bit smaller. But this is a dynamic microphone, tailor-made for this purpose, with a necklace cord. Now, the microphone also comes with a standard microphone clip, so you could use it on a stand without the necklace attachment. But this was the standard configuration. Microphone also comes with a belt clip, so you can tie the cord to your belt or your pants, and so it keeps the cord from shuffling around. Now, I thought that this microphone worked out really well in our conference room because it's super easy. You just slip it over your head and you're good to go. And this was simple for our staff to use who were not AV technicians at all. They were department managers. If somebody comes up to do a presentation and I want to put a clip-on mic on them, or I hand them a clip-on mic, their reaction is often, okay, where should I put this on me? What to do with this? And I have to give them some instructions like, make sure the microphone is on the outside of your clothing and clip it on in such a way that you don't get cable noise and so forth. And there was just not a huge level of comfort with that. But I could hand people the Electro-Voice 647 or 649 like this, and it's got the necklace, and say, hey, just slip this over your neck and then go out and do your presentation. You're good to go. And that was super easy for people to do. And so this is the Electro-Voice 647. It is the first of the modern lavaliers. It was followed a few years later by the 649, which looks almost identical, but it's just a little bit shorter. Pretty similar mic, actually. Shure came out with their competing model, which looks pretty darn similar to this. And this was the form of body mount lavalier microphones until the end of the 1960s. In 1969, Sony came out with a micro miniature condenser microphone in the form of this clip-on mic like the Audio-Technica. And that kind of changed the game and made people move away from these larger body-worn dynamic mics to the tiny clip-on style that is so popular today. And so this is a really important part of microphone history, the Electro-Voice 647. And like I say, it was a popular mic at the time, and they have all but disappeared. And I haven't seen anybody on YouTube talking about it, so I wanted to show it to you and let you take a listen to it. So let me take off this Audio-Technica mic. I'll plug in the Electro-Voice and let you take a listen to it. Here we have the Electro-Voice 647. And I think that this is a pretty cool mic. It's an omnidirectional dynamic microphone, so it's not super position dependent, and it tends to pick up everything around me pretty well. It's got a tailored frequency response for usage in this kind of application to make my vocals come through clean and clear. And for a mic that is 70 years old, I think it performs pretty well. I plan on using it on future videos where it's appropriate. And because this was such an important part of audio history, really the first modern lavalier microphone, I thought I'd share it with you. I thought it was interesting, and I thought that this microphone deserves to have some recognition on YouTube. Now, if you're looking for a lavalier microphone, you probably want something a bit more modern than this, and I would suggest that Audio-Technica 3550 that I was using earlier, because I think it represents really good value. And if you're interested in that, I'll put a link down below. So thanks for checking out the video. I hope you enjoy the content and enjoy it enough to decide to reach down and give it a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe to the channel if you want to come back and see more. And if you want to hang out and watch a few more videos, I'd also appreciate that as well. So thanks again. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video.